What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Smokey and the Bandit was loud, fast, and completely off the rails in the best possible way. And if you saw our last video, the 15 weird facts you never knew, you already know the movie was wild on screen. But what most fans never saw was the chaos happening behind the camera. Scripts were rewritten on the fly. A set truck vanished overnight. And at one point, the crew's CB radios got hijacked by voices they weren't expecting. These are 10 behind-the-scenes moments that nearly broke the movie and somehow turned it into a legend. Let's hit the gas and see what breaks. Number 1. Most films begin with a finished script. Smokey and the Bandit barely had an outline. Director Hal Needham came up with the idea during a drinking session and scribbled it down, literally on the back of a napkin. There was no polished draft, no studio-approved dialogue, just a rough idea, a runaway beer run, a fast car, and a sheriff who wouldn't shut up. Each morning, actors showed up not knowing what lines they'd be saying, or if the scene would even still exist. Pages were rewritten on the spot. Scenes were reshuffled based on weather, traffic, or whether the Trans Am could survive one more take. Much of the banter? Improvised. The story structure? Mostly instinct. And somehow, in all that chaos, they captured lightning in a bottle. So when people say Smokey and the Bandit felt real, that's because it practically was. Made up, patched together, and fueled by adrenaline.
Well, I see there's 400 cases of beer. I'll need the cash for that.
No problem. Go ahead, boy.
New car. I gotta have a new car to block for the truck, you know?
Like to kick his ass just once.
Number 2. Before Smokey and the Bandit, Hal Needham was known as one of Hollywood's top stuntmen, but he'd never directed a film. He had the concept, the action, the charm. But when he pitched it around town, every studio passed. Too southern, too silly, too risky. Nobody wanted to give a stuntman $5 million and a camera. Needham was stuck, until he crashed on Burt Reynolds' couch one night and casually mentioned the idea. Reynolds listened, then leaned in and said, "If you direct it, I'll star in it." It was a bold promise, and when Universal said no to Needham, Reynolds didn't blink. He told them, "No Hal, no me." It nearly ended both of their careers, but Reynolds stood firm, and Universal caved. That gamble, it paid off big. Smokey and the Bandit became the second highest grossing film of 1977, and Hal Needham, once the guy crashing through windows, was now calling the shots from behind the camera. Number 3. Jackie Gleason didn't just play Buford T. Justice, he became him. Once he stepped into the role, Gleason refused to drop the voice, the insults, or the attitude, even when the cameras stopped rolling. He barked orders at crew members. He cursed like the sheriff. He even ate lunch in character. Some found it hilarious, others found it exhausting. But one thing's for sure, when Gleason showed up on set, Buford came with him.
Let me have a Diablo sandwich, a Dr. Pepper, make it fast. I'm in a goddamn hurry.
Number 4. While audiences loved Sally Field's charm and quick wit, she didn't feel like she belonged behind the scenes. The set was dominated by big personalities. Burt Reynolds, Jackie Gleason, and a crew full of stunt guys and good old boys. Field later said she felt like a guest in someone else's movie. She was self-conscious, constantly second-guessing herself, and unsure if she was there because of her talent or because she was dating the lead. Even with Burt's support, the environment was rough. Gleason barely acknowledged her. Crew members didn't know how to handle a serious actress in the middle of their rowdy shoot. And despite being cast against studio objections, she often felt like she was still trying to prove she belonged. But in the middle of all that doubt, she delivered one of her most beloved performances, with timing, heart, and toughness that no one could ignore. On screen, she stole scenes with Reynolds. Off screen, she was quietly holding her own in a world that wasn't exactly built to welcome her in.
What are we doing now?
Well, I am getting my clothes, you fool.
Number 5. Jackie Gleason didn't just play Buford T. Justice, he embodied him, with a little help from a bottle. According to the crew, Gleason kept a stash of bourbon hidden in the patrol car and sipped between takes like it was part of the role. He'd famously yell out, "Hamburger," his on-set code for "bring me another drink." It started out funny, but as the days wore on, the drinking got heavier. Some takes had to be reshot. Others stayed in, even when Gleason slurred lines or improvised entire scenes through a haze. The thing is, it worked. That unfiltered, unpredictable energy became Buford's signature, and while it made production more chaotic, it also made the sheriff unforgettable. So if you ever thought Buford seemed a little too wild in some scenes, he probably was. Hey, pretty wild stuff, right? If you're enjoying it so far, maybe hit like and subscribe. It really helps us keep the wheels turning. And don't go anywhere. There's a stunt coming up that nearly wrecked the Bandit for real. Let's get back to it.
apprehend that horse ass for reckless driving.
But Daddy, he's...
Do what I tell you, you pile of monkey nut.
Number 6. During a midday break, Burt Reynolds took the Trans Am for a joyride. Nothing unusual until he didn't come back. For hours, the cast and crew waited. The radio was silent. The car was gone. Some thought the car had been stolen. Others thought Burt had walked off the movie. Then, just before sunset, Reynolds rolled up, grinning, sunglasses on, like nothing had happened. He never said where he went, and no one ever asked again. Because when you're the Bandit, you don't call lunch breaks. You vanish.
Are we really going 110? We're going 110.
Why do you wear that cowboy hat?
I know, because you think it looks dazzling on you.
Number 7. 2 icons, 1 night shoot, and 0 patience left. Tension had been simmering between Burt Reynolds and Jackie Gleason. Gleason was improvising wildly, brilliantly, but unpredictably. Reynolds, protective of the story's tone, wanted certain beats to land a specific way. Then came the scene. Gleason ad-libbed a line Reynolds hated. Reynolds cut him off mid-take. Gleason barked back. Crew members froze as the 2 biggest stars on set squared off. Chests out, eyes locked, tempers flaring. It wasn't just about the line, it was about control. Who really owned this movie? The Bandit or the Sheriff? A producer stepped in before punches were thrown. They finished the scene without speaking, and though the tension cooled, the silence between them lasted for days. The funniest comedy of the year almost broke down over a single sentence. That's how close the wheels came off. Number 8. CB radios were the heart of Smokey and the Bandit. Fast talk, secret codes, and that rebel spirit on the open road. But during filming, the crew got a taste of what real-life trucker radio chaos sounded like. While shooting highway scenes with CB dialogue, the production team used real open frequencies. That meant anyone nearby could hear the actors chatter and jump in. And they did. Real truckers, hearing Hollywood actors faking CB lingo, started responding in real time, mocking the dialogue, throwing in random jokes, even pretending to be characters in the movie. Takes were ruined. Lines got stepped on. At one point, a driver jumped on frequency and shouted, "Tell Bandit to slow down, he's leaking personality." The crew tried switching channels, but it didn't matter. The truckers always found them. In a film about outlaws on the road, it was only fitting that the real rebels showed up to steal the scene.
Hey, Bandit, this is Little Beaver. Put your foot on the floor, we got your back door, and I'm clear.
Number 9. That legendary leap off the broken bridge? It was filmed in one take, and it nearly went very wrong. The car hit the ramp too hard. It flew crooked, and when it landed, the front axle cracked, the frame bent, and the driver was rattled so badly he almost passed out. The Trans Am was totaled. The camera crew was silent, but they got the shot. And what ended up in the film? A moment of real danger that no stunt coordinator wants to repeat.
I didn't wreck it, Sheriff.
Number 10. One morning, the cast and crew showed up to set, and one of the trucks was gone. Not just any truck. A fully loaded equipment trailer holding costumes, lighting gear, props, and sound equipment had vanished overnight. No alarm, no witnesses. It was just gone. At first, they thought it had been moved. Then came the sinking truth. Someone had stolen it, and the show had to go on. There was no time to wait. The crew scrambled. They hit local hardware stores, borrowed tools, and reassembled half the wardrobe using thrift shop racks. Scenes were rewritten to work around what was missing. Others were faked using backup lights and stand-in props. Insurance eventually covered the loss. But in true Bandit spirit, the crew didn't stop rolling. Because on this set, if you lost the gear, you made a new plan. Fast. Bonus fact, when Smokey and the Bandit hit theaters in 1977, it wasn't just a hit, it became an obsession. At one small-town theater in Texas, the film played every single day for more than a year straight. Locals lined up like it was a church. People brought friends, family, first dates, even babies. Some fans saw it dozens of times. Staff knew the lines by heart. Eventually, the projector started wearing down from repeat use. Why'd they keep it running? Simple, because every time they showed it, people kept showing up. In a town where the Bandit felt like family, they didn't need new movies, just a full tank and that Trans Am on screen. Smokey and the Bandit wasn't supposed to be a classic. It was underfunded, half improvised, and held together with duct tape and charisma. But somehow, through all the chaos, it captured something timeless: freedom, rebellion, and the feeling that the rules didn't matter, as long as you had a fast car and someone worth driving for. If you enjoyed this trip behind the scenes, consider liking and subscribing. We've got more untold stories from the films that made history. Thanks for riding along, and remember what the Bandit said.
For the money, for the glory, and for the fun. Mostly for the money.